Hi, Democrats. Today is Tuesday, October 26th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Tuesday. Alrighty, so if you know me in person, you know that I'm kind of a dog with a bone. Once I get an issue that I want to talk about or I think that needs to be amplified, I'm just going to keep talking about it until I feel like everybody has heard from me enough. So today I'm going to put a different spin on it. I want to give a shout out to a bunch of folks all over the state, but starting with Stacey Hayes, who is the chair of the Logan County Democratic Party. She sent me a couple of weeks ago a podcast to listen to, and it talked about why people get involved or interested in politics. And it asked the question, it posed a question, are you involved in politics? Do you care about politics as a hobby? Are you involved because you want to make lasting change? And it's made me think about it quite a bit. Why are you involved? And so I think about, when I got involved in the 90s, it was because I thought I cared, but it was really as a hobbyist. I voted. I volunteered on a couple of campaigns, but I literally went in like a surgical strike, did a little bit of politicking, and then I went out and went back to my real life. And that's perfectly normal, natural. I say that because that's what I did, but it's perfectly normal and natural. But, I wonder, right? Why are we involved? For the people who, I have a pretty loyal following, people who follow me regularly. Are you engaged because you want to know what's going on, but you don't want to get your hands dirty? Are you engaged because you're looking for a way to get your hands in there? Kind of why are you involved? And so, some questions that it posed and some questions that I ask all the time. Are you involved in politics in real life? Are you involved in politics in real life? Or are you the person who watches tons and tons of MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, God forbid, OAN or Newsmax, but are you one of those people who watches because you want to know what's going on in the country, but you just want to know? And that's okay. We need those folks too. Is that who you are? And then you come to party meetings because you want to know and you want to get up close, you want to know, but you don't feel equipped or interested in, knocking doors. Which person are you? Are you the person who thinks you might want to knock doors, but you don't want to be involved intimately? What kind of person are you? Do you cuss at the TV? Are you the person who argues with people on Facebook? Are you the person who trolls the folks who say really dumb things? Or are you the person who shows up at marches and rallies and protests with your cute little signs, and then you don't come to anything else? Now, be clear. I'm not insulting any of those folks, because a rally, a protest, a march is nothing if it's the 5 people who organized it. There needs to be folks who have been awakened by whatever that issue is and come out, because there's a power in numbers. And if you're that person and you just want to come out and be a show of force when we need a show of force, thank you. We appreciate that. The question is, where do you fit in and where do you want to fit in? And it is okay. Again, I'm going to say it again. It is okay. But if you're that person, go ahead and recognize your lane and don't act like you're the person who's out there getting their hands dirty and doing all of the everyday work. They're different lanes, and we need both lanes. But it just got me to thinking. And I admit that in my lifetime thus far, I've been both. I've been the person who casually went to a Democrat meeting when something was really bothering me, or who, found that one candidate that sparked my interest, and I went and knocked doors for them. And when it was over, I went back to my cocoon. And I assure you that if you're an organizer and you're trying to get folks to go knock doors, you're grateful for that person who comes and knocks doors for a couple of hours that one time. So I am not judging that person. I'm just asking you what lane, and it's time for us to kind of pick a lane, and it's okay. But if you're around it, you need to recognize what lane you're in and what lane the folks that you're around are in. Which brings me to my topic that I'm not going to let go. If you are the person who believes like you're involved in an in real life way, you're the person who's involved in real life. If you're the person who is standing at Walmart in the parking lot with your clipboard trying to get signatures, thank you. But like, go buy some new tennis shoes, stretch, spend some time with your loved ones now because it's campaign season and we need you. If you're the person who wants to get involved and you don't want to knock doors, but you want to be involved in a real way to change things at your city, it's more than just running for office. I keep talking about running for office and registering people to vote. That stuff is really important. But did you know that in your community, there are boards and commissions that you don't have to run to campaign for? You just a lot of times just have to ask and get somebody to write you a letter of recommendation that you are a good voice for your community, that you could be on a board or a commission for your city, for your county. There's another way to get involved where you don't have to put your name on the ballot. Um, Meaningfully, consistently, intentionally sharing the message of the party, of your candidate of choice, of your issue of choice. Consistently, meaningfully, intentionally sharing the message is of great help. And you can do that from the comfort of your recliner, right? We need those folks. I'm always talking about find somebody to run for office, and support that person. I'm never going to stop talking about that because that's who I am. That's my job. But I want to give a shout out to those folks. I want to give a shout out to April Brooks in Tulsa, who organized every 8 days. That's what it started out as, is every 8 days, where for 8 days in a row, she would post the events that were happening in the city where you could get involved and you can get engaged, where the elected officials were going to be, what the topics were going to be for city council, those kind of ways. She made it where you could be at home, chilling on your phone, and find out what was going on in your community. Shout out to April Brooks. Thank you for that work. And I know April is like a lot of us. She's been run down and not sure if she's making a difference. And I'm just giving her a shout out. She's making a difference. There's Nate Harris and Laura Bellis, who started the Save Our State Facebook group that was started out as a Facebook group, and then it moved into a movement that was reporting COVID. Reporting COVID numbers and what was going on with COVID, and got folks involved and gave people actual action items where they could make a change. That's a big deal. Thank you for that. I wasn't paying attention to boards and commissions until Berlinda Radney came and said, I want to be on this board. Will you write me a letter? And watching the impact that she has on my city, I'm from Tulsa, it is amazing. There are ways. And Kirsten, I'd love it if you would start that in your community. There are ways that you can get involved without being a candidate. And I'm always talking about candidates, but I want to give a shout out to folks who don't want to be a candidate. Shout out to people who want to be involved, but don't feel comfortable knocking doors. There are ways that you can get involved, but I'm asking you to challenge yourself. If you consider yourself to be in real life involved in politics, I want to challenge you to figure out a way that you can make a real impact. And it doesn't have to be that you show up at every march. It doesn't have to be that you knock a door for every candidate you believe in or you become a candidate. There are other ways that you can make an impact. And I'm always going on and on and on about being a candidate or supporting a candidate. And those are important. But there are other issues. If you want to help on an initiative petition, those are that's direct democracy. That is a way for we, the people, can take issues directly to our elected officials, and that's important. So I wanted to take some time and remind you that there are other ways. I keep talking about the same thing over and over again, but I appreciate the folks who are involved in other ways. And Marianne is right. If you want to get involved in the political sphere in real life, and you're not sure how to do that, contact your county office. Most of our county parties have Facebook groups, even if they don't have a website. Just type in, like I live in Tulsa County Democratic Party. Their Facebook page comes up and it tells you their volunteer activities. They tell you where the candidates, the announced candidates are going to be speaking. And they tell you where their office is and how to reach their officers so they can give you some volunteer work that fits your lane. There are other ways to get involved, and I don't want to shortchange folks, and I don't want folks to think that if they only feel comfortable writing postcards or doing a phone bank, that that's not enough and that's not important. It is. It absolutely is. And I want to thank those folks because I don't think you guys get as much thanks as the door knockers. We need all of that. You may not get as much thanks as the folks who donate money. We need all of that. So if you are a postcard writer, thank you. Get in touch with your county party and find out if there's some postcards that need to be written. If you are a door knocker, thank you. I know that there are a couple of initiatives going around the state now where people are knocking on doors. If you are a donor, a generous donor, there are some candidates who've announced, and the party is always here. The party is always here. So there are always opportunities for you to donate, and there's some big events coming up. But we appreciate all of them, and we recognize that there are many lanes that people can get into and be involved in politics in real life. And if you are the person who just wants to watch the news and cuss at the TV and cuss at Facebook, that's okay too. It is. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I will be back here tomorrow at 4:15.